What's up everyone? Decided to make a different video from my normal volleyball stuff. Gonna be doing like a whole overview of all the shoes I've worn to play volleyball. The reason for that is because I plan to get some new shoes soon, so I just wanted to give you some insight on what I've been using and whatnot. But yeah, don't really know what shoes I want yet. Kind of have my eyes on some right now, but in terms of what I'm gonna buy, don't really know. I know I'm speaking kind of low. I am recording kind of late at night, so don't want people waking up. So yeah, let's just get started. Well, I guess we'll start off with the earliest shoe I've used before, and then we'll just work our way up to the latest shoe. So these are my first pair of like actual performance shoes. Kobe 11s, Elites. I would say these are probably my favorite shoe of my shoe collection, my performance shoe collection. I like the fit. They don't really have any bad ankle problems. Secure lockdown's pretty good. They have an outrigger on the side that kind of prevents any ankle rolls. Cushion is okay. The lunar lawn midsole does bottom out, but the zoom in the heel is pretty nice. My only problem with these is the traction. They eat dust, and it's kind of not only hard to get the dust off the traction, but they are not very reliable in terms of traction. I think if the traction on the 11s were better, I would probably wear these a lot more than any other shoe I have. But the reason why I don't wear them as often as I usually do is because the traction is just not good. I'll be sliding out and I'll be having to wipe really hard just to get some decent traction. But whenever they are on clean courts and whenever they are clean, the traction is clean, get some really good bite on these. But yeah, wish I had a better pair. Another pair I had after the Kobe 11s were actually the Harden Volume 3s from Adidas. They got the job done. They were kind of heavier, but the traction on them were really good. They bit through dust very well, and they had a herringbone traction. It was a pretty good shoe. I liked them, but I think the only problem with them is that in terms of jumping, they didn't really give you that feel of any energy coming back, because I know the Kobe's kind of feel very springy. The Volume 3s didn't really have any spring to them, but the impact protection and the cushion were pretty good. So I think libs and setters would really like the Harden Volume 3s, but in my opinion, not really a jumping shoe for me personally. And then I did have Asics, I believe the Sky Elite 1s. I had the low top version. Those were pretty good. Sadly, I got them in a 9.5 instead of a 9. If I would have had them in a 9, I think I probably would have used them a lot more. But I got the 9.5. I think there was some communication error on eBay because they're only, I got them off of eBay. They were delivered from Japan. So there was probably some communication error. Ordered a 9, got a 9.5 instead. But for the most part, those were really good shoes. Very bouncy, very springy, good grip. Yeah, those would have been my long-term shoes if I didn't get them in a 9.5. But I don't ever see those anymore. So, and then I believe the next shoe after that was I forgot the name of the shoe, but I'll put the picture of it and the name somewhere on the screen. And those shoes were really good libero shoes, very good defensive shoes, and really good setter shoes, because they weren't too springy, but they were very responsive, very quick on the feet. If you ever needed a sharp turn or anything, they performed like on a dime. The traction was perfect. The stability was off the charts. It was a really good shoe, but it just felt like I was jumping off of mud or something. Like the springiness, the way you would jump, it felt like there was no energy return. So I just kind of put those away. and I believe my brother wears them now. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend them for any jumping positions, but if you're a libero or if you're a setter where you just need some speed and some responsiveness, good shoe. Let's move on to the next shoe. So these were the next shoe up in the lineup, I believe. And these are the Sabrina ones. For a while, I kind of just sat and played in the Kobe's for a while. The Sabrina ones they were good. They were all right shoe. I think, me personally, I think they just didn't give enough the feel of springiness, in my opinion. Because I felt like whenever I was jumping, it felt like my power kind of like dissipated, kind of like jumping on a marshmallow. But for the most part, the foam and the cushion and the impact protection on these were really good, really nice. I think the traction, I would say, is not too bad, but it's not great. I'd give them like a 7 out of 10 because the bite was good enough to get good traction, but not good enough to feel like fully responsive. But they did get me through the club season, the club volleyball season in college. Granted, I didn't get much playing time, but they felt good on feet. But yeah, it was a little bit of a break-in process. My feet were kind of hurting for a little bit, but not too bad for the most part. Yeah, these were pretty good. Now I use these for outdoor because of the cushion. After those shoes, I was looking for something that was a little bit more responsive, better traction, something a little bit more springy. So we moved over to the Anta Di Vincenzo shoe. I believe it was a Zap 1. My buddy Chance put me on those. And for a bit, they were pretty good. I really enjoyed them. They were like the shoe for me, kind of played them out. I actually have them in my trunk. They're my outdoor shoe now too. I just don't play in these because the traction kind of gets eaten up. The Sabrina 1 tractions kind of get eaten up from outdoors, so I'm using the Anti-Zap ones as outdoor. The only bad thing I have to say about the Zaps are the cushion. They kind of bottom out. There's almost no cushion, but responsiveness is really nice. Traction's really good. Feel really low to the ground, can feel the floor very well. But another thing that I had a problem with is the toe box was really wide. I do have wide feet, but I really like a narrow fit because I like to have that snug fit. It makes me feel a little bit more secure. I don't like that sliding around feeling. So Zap ones were good in the beginning because they were kind of tight, but after a while, after I broke them in, the toe box kind of got bigger, and that's something I personally don't like. But yeah, so we went over to a different shoe, and I believe this is the latest shoe I have. So these are the shoe that I'm playing in right now. The Nike GT Cut 3 Turbos. I have them with, I'm rocking them with Game Day Pro insole for Move. The reason why I'm rocking them with insoles is because I can get a more snug fit because they kind of take up some room in the shoe. And so it kind of makes it feel like I'm wearing a size 9 instead of a size 9.5. I went size 9.5 in these because before buying these, I heard a lot of people say that if you kind of have wide feet, you should go half size up. And that's what I did because I have wide feet. But I do kind of regret going a size 9.5 because I think a 9 would have just done me well because I do like a narrow fit. But that's all right because now I know that all the Nike shoes I will fit into a size 9 because I like that narrower fit. But for the most part, great traction, great cushion, decent stability. I haven't had any trouble with stability or rolling yet, knock on wood. But yeah, got kind of a matcha green colorway, and yeah, I'm enjoying these shoes so far. They're nice. I just feel like they don't feel as springy as the Kobe's do, but I do kind of get high up there in terms of jumping. I guess they feel good, or they don't feel good, but they perform good. They're a very fast shoe, pretty decently responsive, not like 10 out of 10 traction bite, and you're not really feeling the ground all too much because the cushion's pretty thick compared to like Lunarlon on the Kobe's or like the Antizap ones. But you still are able to kind of shift around and whatnot. But yeah. The GT Cut 3 Turbos. They're a good shoe. I enjoy them. The lacing system is pretty nice too. It's kind of like an elastic lace, but they do fine. They don't really come undone. Traction's good. I mean, I would say they're like a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. They don't really eat dust too often. Maybe once or twice I'll swipe, but for the most part they're pretty good out of the box. Maybe some break-in time, but I like them. So yeah, those are all my shoes. I don't know where I'm gonna go next from here. I don't know what shoe to get next. I'm looking at a couple. Wade also always has some nice shoes. Serious player only has some nice shoes. Reps 8. If I'm just playing volleyball in them, reps. I might go reps. Kobe's or Jordan's or something. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not. I'm not gonna overpay money for performance shoes. So I'm gonna rip them up. I'm gonna play in them. There's no point in buying real shoes if I'm just gonna rip them up anyways. So yeah, don't know where I'm gonna go from here, but whatever we buy, I will show on the channel. And hopefully it'll be soon. But for now, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions about the shoes I've used and bought, comment down below. I'll try my best to answer some questions to my best ability. I know this video is kind of rushed, but it is what it is. Just wanted to show you my performance shoe collection, what I've dabbled in and whatnot, but for the most part, see you guys later. Peace.